We are going to change. We are going to change this country through the ballot, because the streets, as at now, they've turned out to be that our opponents and the people in power have organized themselves more. The third and the last point that I wanted to say: let us be united, comrades. Let us stop in fighting. Our direction as a country is not good. We are too divided. There are so many interests at play. There are so many issues that are running at the same time. We need to find a common compromise, a common front. We need to set aside our differences. We need to be united, and we need to forge a common path. If we don't achieve that, we are going to perish, all of us, like fools. But I dream of a day that we can all be united, be politically conscious, and ignore every other noise that is happening, and fight for our country and engage in civic education. Thank you so much, Binti. And once more, I congratulate you and Mizani and KOT for the good platform and good work you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Abdurrahman. You're very right. This thing, we have to all register. We all have to get our IDs first and then register for voting, because that's the only way we're going to get this guy out. Actually, I believe that we're going to get him up before 2027. But in the meantime, we need to be doing all these, cover all our bases as much as we can. Before I even go back to our next speaker, Professor Fred, I noticed that you took out the honorable at the start, and I wanted to point something out. Guys, this thing of calling people Rumuors, what? This government is full of people that are okay with extrajudicial killings, abductions. They're okay with bringing in punitive measures, bringing in punitive bills, bringing in all these bad things. So please, if you hear your mom, your dad, your grandma, your shosho, your gukau, whoever, like your anybody calling somebody Mheshimiwa from this government, please stop them, because they are anything but honorable. But that was just a side note. Mizani, would you like to bring our next speaker up, please?
Sure. I want to say, do we have any lady in the house except you, Binti? We have Toria. Toria, good evening to you.
Good evening. How are you guys? Binti, KOT, and Mizani, and the rest. I hope you're good. Yeah, today is a very sad day on my side. I think every Kenyan, it's tormenting. Today, the kids from Endarasha have been laid to rest, whereby the so-called leaders, nobody took the opportunity or even stood up and state anything about those kids or even inquire about whatever happened. They just assumed and move on like it's like a normal thing. Where we are heading to as a country, I think what we are doing now, we are heading in the right direction. As for what we are doing, but according to the leaders, we don't have leaders in Kenya actually. We have dealers, we have looters, murderers. A lot has been happening in this country, and I think it's high time we take it as a responsibility and our duty to come forward and fight for this land, because it's our land. East or West Kenya, that is home, is always the best. And it requires all of us to join our forces together. We avoid the distractions and the diversions that these leaders are showing us, are trying to impose on us. We avoid them and focus. Let's not lose our focus. Let's remember what brought us together since June 25th, which was advocating for good governance. We've not yet gotten even a quarter of what we were asking. We've not yet been heard our voices, but instead we are being killed one by one. We should rise. Death should not be something to hold us back, because if it means to kill, let them kill all of us. But we reclaim our country back. We get rid of this bad leadership. We need to fix our country, and we can do this by coming out in large numbers, supporting each other, bringing our minds together and having unity. knowing that our main goal or our aim, we have one agenda, we have one goal, all of us, that requires all of us to achieve. We need to get our IDs. We start taking the voters cards or whatever. I feel it like we may not reach 2027 for elections to happen. The rate that the roller coasters of incidents which are happening in the country, it can predict that we cannot withstand that until 2027. And if you think we can wait until 2027, I want to tell you that you're mad. You're mad. You've not yet faced what Kenyans are going through. Right now, everybody is being oppressed, has been... the government has just brought like everyone on call, like we are fed up with this government. I want to talk about the Germany issue. Please, we can create jobs in our country. People are being exported. People are dying in these foreign countries. The nigger who went ahead to promise us countries, the jobs, people are being exported. Nobody is, okay, deported. Let me use the term deported. And nobody is talking about it. Is it a must we go ahead to work outside so that we can earn a living? No, we can create jobs in our country. We need to see things on how we can bring this country together and to work for a better Kenya. Justice is what we need. Unity, and we are all advocating on the same cause. Let's stick together, avoid division. Yeah, that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Toria. We appreciate you. Though nimeona umestruggle sana. Watoto wamesema wamekula sukari. You should limit number of sweets in the evening. These kids can be something else. Wataki wazee waongee mambo ya watu wakubwa. Jioni mambo inahusu nchi. But thank you. We appreciate you spending time talking to us. I want to listen to 254. 254 for life. Good evening to you.
Evening, Eli. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, KOT. Thank you, Binti. I'd like to start at this point, and I posted something on the chat that I think was just trying to make it as short and simple as possible. We are already downhill. We are headed to rock bottom, in other words. And just to correct maybe what Professor Fred had said, we don't need to start a revolution. The revolution started in June already. We are just on a path. And I think as a Kenyan, I'd say the sad reality is that when you wake up in the morning, you feel frustrated. When you go to bed at night, you feel frustrated. And it's all different things. And just to place this in context, I don't support giving airtime to this distractions for Rigiji and being impeached, because I personally know it's all nonsense. It's just trying to distract from the bad governance that we've been seeing. And even all those so-called promises that were given after the initial maandamano, nothing has really changed, to be quite honest. Let's just call it what it is. Nothing has changed. So just to remind people, and as I was listening to some of the speakers, I happened to run through a tweet from Nelson Harvey, and he quite astutely said it. The same people who you expect to give you change were the same people who weren't able to impeach Linturi when he sold us fake fertilizer and fake maize seeds. Are they really going to tell us they're going to impeach a deputy president? Isn't it that foolish? So it's like the leadership of this country is just full of imbeciles and clowns, as he puts it. And I agree totally. We have people who have no sense of what should be done, one. Two, even if they do have the sense of what should be done, they're just clueless. And all they think about is their stomachs and the money they make. And probably as I finish, to keep this context to everyone, just like what Binti said, there's nothing honorable about all these people. And the sooner we keep calling them out for all the nonsense they keep giving us every day, is the sooner they realize that there's no room for them anymore. So we should not be fearful. To be quite honest, we are all going to die someday. It doesn't matter whether you die at 20, 30, 60 or 70 years old. You're going to die one day. The whole important issue for me is when you die, what will you go? What will be your legacy? Would you want to be remembered like Ruto, who's now going to be remembered for being a very serious and consistent liar? Are you going to be remembered as a president who sat and watched your people die? Are you going to be the person who are selling your own citizens to foreign nations as if we are cattle in the market? So I honestly believe I'm Kenyan. I live in Kenya. I don't want to live anywhere else. I'm happy here. I was born, raised, and work here. So I really don't want to be somebody's slave. So I'm happy being here. So if you feel that this is the country where you feel most comfortable in and you want it to be better, then the change starts with you. It's not going to change. It's not going to start with anybody else. It starts with you. So whether it's 2027, whether it's tomorrow, get your vote. Make the change. The change starts with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Exactly that. The change truly does start with you. And you're right, we can't rely on anybody else to do all these things for us, because at the end of the day, we're the ones that are going to be living in the future world. We need to be taking care of ourselves and for our future generations too. How will you be remembered? That's what you just asked, right? And I want to ask our next speaker that. Collins Otiambo, how will you be remembered?
Hello, everyone. My name is Collins Odiambo, an activist. I would call myself that. And thanks, Mizani. Thanks, Binti. Thanks, KOT. And thanks to 54 for Life. I want to be remembered as a citizen who also contributed into to freedom that we share or for future generation that comes. First of all, I want to start my submission by sending my sincere condolences to Russia kids. Based on what I've seen today, it's like the government or people we hold accountable have lost a sense of humanity. We lost kids, and nobody wants to talk about them. As much as they speak about the kids that we lost, it's not as loud as it should be. Someone should be in jail. We can't lose 21 kids. And then it's just like it's statistics of kids that it's like chicken. It really pains. 21 kids. There's someone who is sleeping on their job, and that someone should actually be in cell right now. So another thing I would also want to say is the cake is so big, very, very big. Every hand should be on deck. What I mean by every hand should be on deck is play your part. Play your part to ensure that nobody in this current government goes back, from the president to anybody who is here, because they've actually shown that they're not leaders. Just as 254 has said, using Nani's Avi's tweet, that the people actually we expect to bring change didn't impeach Linturi. I share the same sentiments. Like, how do we expect them to give us change? Yet they didn't impeach Linturi, who actually sold our parents' soil, yes, and became rich with that. So another question I should ask everybody who's here is, what impact would you leave for the country? We know people like Wangari Maathai, they are long gone. But even a kid, if he's told, or he or she is told about Wangari Maathai, they know what Wangari Maathai did. When history would count you, when history would judge you, or when history would judge us, then which part of history would you be? Would history be gentle on you, or would history be harsh on you? I ask everybody who is on this platform and there's a petition that I'm actually trying to push for civic education on. We are requesting the churches to allocate 20 minutes of civic education on importance of ethical voting. So everybody who's on this platform, or anybody who's able to share, please share with your church leaders, and we push this, because just the same way why we are doing this is because politicians are actually given a platform to corrupt vulnerable citizens' mind on what they need, how they want the citizens to vote for them, and promise them heaven and earth, which they actually don't need. So I want also, because I'm a believer that the current government is in place because the church gave them that platform. And I ask everybody to befriend the church and let the church break this law, because it's from them that we have this government. So take your voters' card. If you're here, I ask you, or I beseech you, let's not just talk and there's nothing we're doing. Let's not just talk on space platforms and there's nothing that we're doing. If you're having a younger brother who's at home and is hit 18, let him have his ID card. If you're having a parent who's old, ensure, this one I'm really asking, ensure that they don't vote, because they are part of the problem that we're actually facing now. Someone goes to voting, and then what they would say is, this is from my village, this guy is from my village. Like my father, attest to this, my father would actually voted for someone because they come from the same clan. That is a former governor of Kisumu. And I would ask him, why are you doing this? Why are you voting him? Is there anything, is his track record okay? But what do you think says he's from my clan? So if your parent is the type of person who would actually vote for someone based on their friends, or they are from the same village, then ensure that you hide their ID come voting time. This is something that should go. Ensure you hide their ID. So just to finish is ensure that you have your voter's card, and the cake is so big for everybody. Everybody should play their part. I heard how Prof articulated his points. Everybody has a part to play. If you have to do a civic education in your church, please do it. If you have to do a civic education in your school, please do it. There's so many here. Assume if you were able to impact like 5 friends or 10 friends, the same 10 friends would actually impact another 10 friends. So let's not tire. The journey is long, but let's not tire. Thank you so much. Asante.
Asante sana. That is Collins for joining the call and sharing your thoughts with us. So in case you're joining in, we are asking a very simple question. Where are we headed to as a country? Ukikaa chini, upige darubini yako mzuri sana. And zoom your lens to the country we call Kenya. Where can you project we are headed? Tuko tu sawa ama inabidi tujiangalie? Are you offended? I dare ask. Welcome to the conversation. Sauti ya Mwananchi, courtesy of KOT and Binti Africa. Binti Africa. I am here thinking through what these ladies and gentlemen are sharing on. And one thing for sure, people are irritated, if not perturbed, by the leadership we have today. I happened to have seen a number of updates from Kenyans, especially when we saw our leaders in that school in Russia. And KOT, I'm here asking you a question. Your leaders were simply saying they are now going to cross the aisle and defend the deputy president against the impeachment motion. Uko na mashtaka ya kujibu. Are you the same problem we are trying to solve, KOT? Na usijifanya unakunywa kopo la maji, nyinyi ni Waluya mnakunywa kopo la uji.
Leaders wangu gani jamani?
I've been seeing you crossing shoulders or rubbing them.
I've not rubbed anyone's shoulder. I haven't. I haven't. Who is that?
Tutapaka receipt hapa. Just a second. You can mute. It's all right. Let's, Binti Africa, before we bring in the next speaker, do you have a thing or two to say about this situation? Because when we are talking about the country of Kenya we want and where we are headed as a country, then we see now some political players looking like sasa wamepata wajinga. All of a sudden, there's a clique that thought it was left out of government and now want to feel part of the government by joining the victim of the government. What do you make of that? And sisi kama wa Kenya gathering around these people and cheering them out. And why I say that, I see a text here by there's a gentleman that shared something here. This is Supermoon, who says, until we stop wealth worshipping and tribalism, corruption and impunity will not end. Solomon Lane also says, the country is heading to the rocks. We elected praise and worship instead of MPs. The president is never elected alone. The deputy president should never be impeached alone. That is according to Stanislaus. And some here say we need to hit the streets to impeach both. Well, let's hear you say as we have this conversation. Back to you, Binti, as you bring in the next speaker.
Yeah, no, let me tell you, yes, we're seeing a lot of people that are now just joining on this, let me call it a joyride. They're just jumping on the bandwagon because now they're seeing that the people are against the majority of the government. They want to just hop in on the, what should I call it, the minority side and act as if they're with the people. They are not. Guys, everybody in this political class right now is not with us. They're not for us. We need to take away this whole class and bring in new people. We need fresh blood. We need people with new mindsets, people with new ideas, new thoughts, new perspectives, with humanity. Let's start there, with humanity, because there's none right now. Let's be honest.
Before you just bring in the next speaker, Binti, why for me it's a bit perturbing or very perturbing is the fact that Collins has asked us we need to have at least 25% of civic education happening in churches. Guess what? The church today spoke about the issues that are happening in this country. And they said nothing except mambo ya impeachment. Or let's repeat. It's all right.
No, it's not all right, by the way. Concept, you know, at the in Russia there was I think it was a priest that spoke, who goes, let's pray for the kids and then let's pray for our government. Why are we praying for this government? They need to be shunned and chucked in the pits. They need to leave like yesterday. They should have left yesterday. All of them. Akimina Chokana this. Anyways, let me just go to the next person before Nyanza Kijam and I'm a co-host. Let me go to Farouk. Farouk, hi.
Hi, confirm if you can hear me.
100%, go ahead.
Okay, thanks Kayoti, Mizani, Binti, speakers and listeners. First, I would like to answer the question of where are we heading as a country. My feel is that we are being led in darkness and our country is going to, I don't know where it's going because we are headed by the people who don't know where they want to take us. My submission, I want to first say people should not give up about the movement, because I feel the rain is still raining and the river is about to break its backs. And you know what can happen when the river breaks its backs. Some new things will happen. Due to that, I have heard several speakers talking about getting votes and be ready for election, and it can happen anytime, or it can happen to the due date. In my submission, what I want to say on this, if election to be held and people have their votes ready and got the ballots, and and make their decision and clear the old readers and bring the new readers. Whereas we have a broken system, I feel in my side that we might get in another trouble because our system is broken. Why should I say our system is broken? First, right now we can. Most of the people may think we have some independent bodies in our country, but we don't have. The only independent body we have right now, according to me, is executive. Because judiciary, they are not working. They are being told. In legislature, they are the same category. They are being told. When we go to the bodies like EIBC, those offices, IPOA, EACC, those bodies that we have to have faith on them so that they can bring changes in our country. They are not working. They are not independent. That's why I'm saying our system is broken. And when the system is broken, even if we bring in new readers, because the system is broken, they can change. Anybody can change. I can tell you what I'll do to you. I do this. But in my heart, when I get what I want, I change, because you cannot take me anywhere. Then you go to the street again, trying to bring me out. So we can have a cycle, because the system is broken. But if we have a good system that can work to everybody, I think even if you bring in somebody who is corrupt, the system will sieve such readers. They will not have any chance to corrupt or to do deals against the will of the people, because we have a good system. What I am advocating since then is the system. We correct the system. The constitution should be corrected, because our constitution there was drafted in a manner that those who are drafting it, were politicians. Those who are drafting it, they drafting it and in a way that they left loopholes and gaps. A politician will use our constitution, because I take our constitution as our system, to guide the system in a way that our constitution talk about independent bodies. Independent bodies, according to me, I feel, is a body that the head of that institution should be elected by the people, because the only independence a head can get in any country, I think, should be elected by the people, direct from the people. Because for example, CJ in judiciary is being appointed, and if you figure out being appointed, you are not independent. In EABC, being appointed, you are not independent. In IPOA, the head being appointed, EACC the same. And when you come the legislature, the powerful man, speaker, is being elected by those politicians. So there always a favor will come in, because you return a favor by giving a favor. So according to me, we have to do to sit down and structure our system, or to amend our system, our constitution, That's where we should focus on, despite if we get in that situation to election, we must think about our system, because we can elect somebody thinking he or she is best to lead this country, but when he get that seat, my friend, you start crying again. You start crying again. So we have to amend our system despite anything. Let me stop there to give another speaker a chance to give out views. Thank KUT, Mizani, Binti for the chance. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Farouk. Before you leave, let me just ask you one question. You're saying that we should fix the system, which yes, we should fix the system. But I want to ask you about the constitution specifically. Do you feel that we've actually implemented the constitution properly? Like, are we in a stage where we can say we've tried it, it doesn't work, we need to change it now?
Okay, thanks, BT. I'm feeling we have not yet implemented the constitution fully, simply because there was a gap. The constitution has already had gaps, and that's why the body which we entrusted to look at the implementation of constitution, they are not working because they are not independent.
Okay, so my point is, do you not think it's worth us getting people that are able to implement what is there, like as of now, of that 2010 constitution first, before we even think about changing anything about it? Because, and I'd like to get either a lawyer, advocate of the High Court or something like that, anybody that's able to come and talk to us. Do you not think that that's going to open up some loopholes in which now this government can come and change things up completely? Mizani, your co-host, please don't lift your hand, just come speak to me.
This is really out of respect and the interest to the question you're raising, because we have had this conversation about a system that is dysfunctional. We have also had opportunities to critically ask, is it really that the constitution has an issue, or are individuals that find themselves on the other end of this unfair document feel like they are being treated unfairly? A case in place, right now we are talking about the impeachment motion against the DP. There's also some funny guy who has decided 5 years are not enough, so we need to have 2 years. Remember, the Constitution provides for all these amendments to happen within themselves. So if Farouk here is arguing that the problem we have is the system, I am here thinking, is it really the system, or is it the bad manners we have as a people to completely disrespect the rule of law? Because how many of us as Kenyans, and I don't want to look like I'm now trying to accuse us Kenyans as being those who misbehave, but a good example of what we do, and we do it absolutely with no chills. Men, raise up your hand. Usikojoe hapa. Men will actually do that without a problem. Number two, you are at the red lights. Some of you don't even know why we have traffic lights in that country. You will cross through them. And if by any chance the police officer flags you, guess what? Mzee, niko na 500 hapa. So I am not in any way trying to accuse us of misbehaving, because clearly they say the fish rots from the head, but I believe the tree starts from the root. So if we are talking about this document that is so bad, and we haven't implemented a thing about it, how many of these changes will actually bring the change we so desire? And that's why we are asking, where are we headed to as a country? Back to you, Binti.
Thank you. Thank you very much. 254, you've had your hand up for a while. I think you want to reply to something, and then we go back to Farouk, then we have some new speakers. So 254 for life.
Thank you, Binti. I wanted to touch on two things. One, I'll start by commenting on you saying you don't want to get angry. I'd like to encourage you to get angry, simply because we are all angry because we know there's something wrong. We know the country is not functioning well. So there's nothing wrong as a citizen in you getting angry because things are not going well. And you can feel it in your pocket, you can feel it in your home, you can feel it in the workplace, you feel it every morning and every evening. So there's nothing wrong in getting upset. Two, I wanted to address what Farouk was saying and sort of also agree with Eli of Mizani, to say this. The Constitution, when it was designed under the ideology of everything working well and being implemented 100%. So to give an analogy, if you're in your house and you're cooking ugali, you do not cook the ugali halfway, then throw it out and say this ugali is not good enough or it's not ready, because you've not completed the entire process. So as a country, we've not sat down to properly implement the Constitution from the first page to the last page, cover to cover. And I think what probably Farouk's ideology should be, or maybe the mentality should be, is that the people who sit in those institutions are supposed to look at the Constitution as the letter of the law for those offices. So if you implement it 110%, there should be no excuses why we are not having systems working. And part of the problem is, and why it's so glaring, is that you have a president who took oath of office to implement the Constitution, but he spends 90% of his time and the people around him trying to circumvent it. So what we end up having is the last 2 years where nothing seems to work. It's because you're always seeing now every single law that they've put in place post coming into office is now being challenged in court and being thrown out. It's simply because they didn't just take time to sit down and say, okay, this is the Constitution. This is what we should do as an office. And just to mention as I land, and maybe just an advice to Farouk, we have no independent institutions. Even the executive is being influenced by foreign powers. This is why you're hearing of all these job deals for Kenyans outside there. We're being sold off as slaves to the highest bidder. And the only people who are independent is you and me as the citizens. We are the sovereign. We are the only independent party here. So if we don't look out for ourselves now, we will never look out for ourselves in future. So please keep that in mind, that the Constitution was crafted with an idea that everything should work in a specific fashion. And if the people who are supposed to uphold it don't do so, we'll always be in problems. It doesn't matter if you bring 10, 20 different versions of constitutions, they will still break it. Thank you.
Thank you 254. So what you're ideally saying, and I hope you guys have listened to him with a lot of attention, there's the aspect of independent bodies that exist. Actually, I was looking, we have about 18 independent and what I would say constitutional offices that I call it. Let me just not get that wrong. Otherwise, I get the wrong message around. I'm talking about independent offices and institutional commissions. There are about 18 of them. And they have all these nice things they want to talk about on what we can achieve. KOT, your network is dropping off. So, in a nutshell, the last line of defense for this constitution is the sovereign, the people. And that's why we cannot depend on the ODPP or the courts to do what is not right and start crying about it. So we can change this constitution as much as we want. But once it contravenes the aspirations of the people of Kenya, that is where we draw the line. And that's why politicians will do everything within their power to make you look powerless, hopeless, or not an important aspect of these constitution implementation processes. And therefore, I do want to agree with 254 that the day Kenyans will realize the kind of power we possess through this constitution, we won't even be talking about amending this thing. But let's hear out from Farouk.
Okay, that's once again. I heard you, Mizani, and Binti, 254. I was thinking something else about let me just put this.